Good evening. This is Nereida Sirena with Celestial Soul Wellness, and thank you for watching. Today, we are talking about what am I talking about? The new moon in Gemini. Just messing with you. 2014. And this new moon in Gemini has a lot of communication going on. So it's going to be fun, 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 fun. Now, before we start, let's talk about the Sabian symbol. The Sabian symbol is a strike at an industrial corporation. So what's going on is that the little people, okay, the people, when there's a strike, there's a disagreement between the higher ups, really, the administrators, their CEOs, and all that, and the people that are doing most of the work. Okay, and higher ups are like, we just need this, we want this, okay, and we don't want anything outside, nothing uniqueness. The people here, when there's a strike, they want to be recognized. They want to show who they are. Look at us. They want to be allowed to be themselves, okay, and to be represented and be respected. They don't want to be put into a corral with the other cows and treated in that way. But a lot of times, in a lot of workforces, and a lot of education systems, and a lot of hospitals, any institute that is going to have more than 500 people turns into a corral where they try to generalize everyone. And this is good for them, and that's good. And so everybody's going to follow the same method, even if the people in charge are not following that method. And they don't want anything outside, new ideas or uniqueness or geniuses or creativity outside of that corral is going to cause problems. Lord, do I know that for sure. Okay, so, the higher up is going to try and do everything possible to calm it down. But they also recognize that they need that corral. They need those workers. They need the people, coming in. So that way they actually have a business. Now they have to be making a lot of good money because if they have more than 2 homes, well, goodness, they're raking in more money. Now, anytime they'll realize when something is general, they say that's good enough. When we're talking about good enough, we are not talking about blissful living and optimal well-being. We're talking about surviving and making it through crawling to our deathbed. Okay, you ever notice, hey, how you doing? I'm making it. I'm surviving. Ooh, not good. That means those people, those individuals have made the choice on not really being happy. They have made choices going, I guess I was born to do this. I'm like, I don't know, but kill me now if I'm going to be doing something like that. So, that's something to really think about. Our choice of words really says something. That's very important being, this new moon in Mercury. Because the way we express ourselves all the time, Mercury's about communication, socializing, all right? It's about siblings in the neighborhood, taking walks and movement. Taurus, we were sedentary. We just kind of wanted to be the Fernando the Bull, just, don't move me. Lay me by the flowers and maybe splash some water on me once in a while. But Gemini, remember, it's represented by Mercurial. Okay, Hermes, those golden wing, I look at my feet as if you can see them, the golden winged shoes, and he's flying here and he's flying there, kind of like Flash Gordon, but they're so everywhere, they're very AADD, ADHD also, and because they're all over the place, they're not focused. They know, trust me, they know everyone and anyone, and they know a little bit about everything, and they are so creative and witty about how to change the subject for you not to notice that, okay, they've exhausted their information on that topic to change it to another, okay, because heck, if they're going to ever show that. They do like to investigate, they love to learn a lot, but up to the point of what it serves them anymore. So that's a little bit of frustration, whereas on Sagittarius you have more of a depth, okay? They also, too, like to distract people from seeing them by teasing others, all right? And they'll tease others about untruths. So you have to be careful about that. They mean it just to be jovial, just to have fun. They cannot handle it. They dish it out, but they don't take it very well. They're like, no, no, I don't want to. I want to be the editor of Star. I want to be the editor of People. I don't want to be in People and in Star. You know, so there's that. They have to be careful because they're very aware of that insecurity. And when we have those communications, we have to be very aware of what's going on, all right, with this new moon. And it's very important because the moon is about emotions and it's a new moon. So it's about emotions. So what's going to happen is people are going to try and intellectualize these emotions that they're feeling. Okay? They're going to be like, I think, or I see it as this way. Okay? As opposed to, knowing what the truth is. Remember, what is truth? What is reality is really a matter of perspective, a matter of one's own truth and wishes, and how they create and manifest and realize their own life and their own lifestyle. So, okay, Gemini is known to have the arches like this, okay? And we have a top connecting it. It's very important because it's kind of like seeing two people. And if we know, when twins, they're connected no matter what, they have this innate connection. So they can have different heads, we can have different feet, different bodies, but by pushing that inward, okay, it is saying that no matter what, we are all connected. And it's very important because in this world we are. So as the butterfly effect, as Hermes, as Mercurial, the winged, you know, got there, flies from place to place, is creating the butterfly effect. And the consequences of that movement going fast and going over here, okay, creating electrical waves, which is very important for us to remember that our movement, what we do, our perspective affects other people. So if we don't want negativity on us, remember to project positive on them, okay? And the worst anything happens, you just kind of like, I'm not going to entertain this story. I'm not going to entertain this behavior. Goodbye. So just go ahead and be yourself on that. And it's important, all right? A lot of times, too, Geminis don't know their limits and boundaries. They're always going, 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 which is very important because to Gemini, where does their neighborhood stop? Okay? I mean, goodness, thank goodness they're not in a gang, and said, yeah, floaters or, this and that, CB3, LVP and all that, and white fence, not because they would slightly get lost and not know exactly where their gang territory ended and someone else's started again, okay? So knowing the boundaries and limits is very, very important and at this time. So also know that we are having squared off Neptune. Neptune is in Pisces. Now Pisces too, we have the fish going in opposite direction. Now we always think, oh, well, that's it. It just pulls. Well, have you ever had two magnets pull against each other? It goes back. Another way to explain that is, especially in water, when you go this way with the water, you notice it always comes back under, and it comes back under. Well, that's very important to remember because our effects, what we do, going off in different directions or not, we're still going to bring ourselves back to where we were before, okay? And if not necessarily us, but our actions are going to have that effect, the consequences, okay, of what we're doing. So we need to remember that, all right, and to offer that and to flourish in that. During this time, because it is square Neptune, people are going to say, oh, yes, that sounds interesting, and might compromise themselves by saying, by agreeing to certain situations when in reality they didn't think about it. They were just like, oh yeah, just for talk's sake, okay? Because that's what Geminis do, and that's the Gemini energy. Just oh yeah, oh great, and next thing they know, for tomorrow they got 5 different activities and really didn't think about it. Sounded like fun, and then they're like, I gotta cancel, I gotta do this, so they come off sounding flake. Well, the point is a lot of people are going to come off doing that because of this square of Neptune with the new moon. And so a lot of people are going to sound flaky. So instead of sounding flaky and irresponsible and inconsiderate, best not to agree to anything. until you know for sure that it is. Because what you feel and think and see one minute, you might feel, think, and see a different way the next day. So take some time and really think about that, okay? Because remember, if you're one of those people who constantly flake or who constantly have to decline, well, after 3 times, people are no longer going to invite you. They're not going. You're going to be considered untrustworthy. Okay, you're considered wishy-washy, no backbone. Okay, no mind of their own, and so that you're just looking out for the latest fun, but you really don't know how to nurture a relationship or nurture a project and see it through to the end. And when it's someone like that, then you are fun to hang out with, but you're not fun to be involved with. So even if everybody sometimes has those traits, we need to remember that we need to stabilize it, and it's okay to not promise or make agreements if we're not sure. It's the best way to do that, um, so that way we don't have any situations like that. Now, another way to avoid betrayal or disillusions and all that is not to put expectations on anyone. Just go, okay, this is an idea. Don't answer yet, since you know the situation right now, astrologically, what's going on. And you say, think about it for a couple days. I'm going to text you. I'm going to call you. We're going to come together and meet again. And then give me your opinion. Let's have some feedback. Now, just make sure the moon is not in void at that time. So, and in doing that, you are giving the other people time to make up their mind, okay? And if it's a very important situation or project or relationship, you need to give people their space and allowance to be themselves. If not, essentially what happens, there is a strike, like in the Sabian symbol, in that industrial revolution, there's a strike there. So you don't want that. You want cooperation. We all want cooperation. We all want harmonious situations. And it's very important, too, to encourage that. Okay, because remember, we still have what's going on. Um, let's see here. That's funny. I sometimes try and memorize it, but I'm not going to this time. Let's see. We have Mars is going direct now and Libra, which is great because it's trying to, be harmonious and cooperative. But you know, um, we have a loose opposition with Uranus and Aries. And so it's like causing like, no, it's not going to happen, or sudden things are happening. And you're just like, gosh, I just got things settled. And it's just creating this opposition, constantly like, hello, so understand and expect and go, okay, let's go with the flow. It's telling you things need to be woken up. And I just had an epiphany of something that just happened. Ah, the Uranus affecting being electronics. Okay, it just hit. Wow. Wow. Okay, great. Don't you just love those times? Woohoo. Okay, so now also know that Mars is there with the loose conjunction there to Vesta, also in Libra, which is also opposite of Uranus. So we're trying to be, sturdy. We're trying to give. We're trying to encourage. And this Uranus and this going on is shaking us up a little, going, really, is this who you are? Or you're compromising yourself? Okay, and this is very important because why we have honeymoon periods in relationships where we're, oh, everything is great, they're just wonderful, da da da, and 2 years later we can't stand them, or 3 years or whatever, because the honeymoon period's over. Why? Because in the beginning we deny who we are. We are not honest. We compromise, even if it's something we don't like for the sake of the relationship, thinking it might be great, when we have to realize it doesn't matter. No one. We won't change for no one. We have our needs, wants, and desires, and we have the right to it and allowance to it. And when we deny it, we resent the other people when they never asked us to in the first place. It's we chose that. We could have walked away. We chose not to, and that's very important to understand and acknowledge that. Women always hope to change the man. Hello, go to another cow for your milk. Don't go and try and change that bull to a cow, if you need milk. Okay? Men hope that the women don't change, And the thing is they're compromising because remember, feminine essence is all about compromising, trying to make things work. And so it's not that they change, their true selves come out. And you weren't aware of that. And you're like, whoa, 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 whoa. We made agreement according, I agreed we're going to get married or live together according to this, not how you were going to change after. And then that's where all the arguments come out and things like that. It's really sad that what humanity has done for thousands of years, especially with the patriotic cultures, okay, because there is not this encouragement. And the old pagan style, the old Wicca style, the Druids and all that, and the African religion, spiritual teachings, it wasn't to follow, but to be like so and so. Now we have this really interesting Christianity going on, and I mean, by all means, and it's like, oh, Jesus is like another statue, and let's follow him and believe in him. You gotta believe in yourself, and you gotta love, and you gotta be compassionate. I mean, Jesus was like the Gemini. He was not in this temple and went to the same place. I mean, what millions and millions and millions of people do is totally contrary to what Jesus Christ did. Yet they say they believe in Jesus Christ. That's so superficial. Christianity is very superficial because it's not getting into the nuts and gritty. It is not the doing. That would be the Sagittarius of doing it. They just listen, and they speak, and then they don't follow through. And that they tell other people, because if we talk about it, we sound like we know about it, but we're really not doing. Because who we are, if we're healthy, if we're living a boastful life, if we're living very, blissful, okay, and happy, it's going to show. It's going to show from the inside out on our skin. It's going to show in our health. It's going to show completely. So when you see certain people, you just look at them going, can't listen to you because you're lying. All right. And it's very honest because when Jesus, he ate with different people, all walks of life, he allowed, he accepted and encouraged people to forgive themselves. Okay. He didn't give forgiveness. God didn't give forgiveness because God is the one who gave you life. So there's nothing to forgive. All right? It is our actions and our choices that have gone against what our old belief systems, which is very Gemini, is our belief systems and more of the third house, okay, of the people we love and created us there, okay, in this sphere that we've gone against them and harmed them. And those belief systems create resentment, create guilt, create rage, all right? And these limits and boundaries that sometimes people cannot. And that's very important because going with Mars and Vesta being conjunct with that, opposite Uranus here, we are having problems with that. And, coincidentally, you know, there's a loose square there with Mercury, okay? And Mercury's going to come forward a little into Cancer, and then it's going to go back into Gemini, create for that retrograde, and it's going to bring up all those subject matters again that need to be dealt with. So we think all those things have been dealt with, and it's not. And you know how we know is because I know Venus is conjunct the South Node, all right? And so, wow, the past is coming back. Okay, and that does not necessarily mean we have to get together and, because remember, who we were in the past and who we are now are usually two different people because we have evolved. We've gone through different phases and chapters and books of our life and different epics. And so certain ideas that we had back then, and that might have been nice and it worked for us back then, are no longer the same now. Okay? And so a lot of times when two people get together, they're like, oh gosh, yes, it was. But remember, and something very important, that relationship wasn't fulfilled. It closed, even though we say, well, I didn't have real closure. Yes, you did. It just, you didn't get to make that choice. The other person made that choice. And that's just too bad, but it's still closure. And why I say that, because if the relationship was really, really awesome and it was really, really great, you would still be in it and you would be supporting one another and evolving together. But obviously, it wasn't what you needed, supposedly, or what they needed. Let's admit it. They walked away. And we have to deal with that. Okay? I mean, we have to deal with that. And so that is the closure. And we have to say, well, why? Why wasn't it good enough? It's not that we're good enough. Get that out of the head, those ideas. And that's the problem with societies. We are trying to find deservance and allowance and love through other people. We are always good enough. We just don't fit in that puzzle piece. And every time we're trying to look for good enough through other people's eyes, okay, and approval through other people's eyes, we are denying ourselves. We are denying the right to love ourselves. We are denying the right to be ourselves. We are denying the right to think for ourselves. And the more approval you search for outside, you are no longer your own entity. You are not an independent thinker, okay? And you turn into mush and a rag that can be served for other people and swish and swash, and then an excuse also. People start throwing the excuses at you because they can. Because you yourself have no backbone, okay? No strong jaw to say, this is what I like, you know? And so those expectations, and this is very important because in love, being with the South Node, these are issues of the past, and not just past loves, but past situations. Perhaps we have certain expectations and ideals of what love is. Maybe we watch too many Walt Disney movies, okay? Maybe we need to read more Grimm books or something like that to balance that out. Okay, it's very interesting. Some certain times we have certain contracts and ideas, and what is a vow? What is commitment? And I'm doing this because of loyalty, and I'm doing this because out of oh, this is honor to duty to my family. None of that says, and I am blissful out of that. I do this because I am happy doing it. I am blissful and joyful. Nowhere in those words does it say that in duty, vows, commitments, okay, loyalty and honor. None of that includes happiness and bliss. It's temporary, okay? So when we are thinking of Vesta and Mercury, okay, and Mars, all right, and having that triangle with Mercury of communicating, we have to really communicate who we are. And we don't have to be rude about it. Say, one morning going, you know what? I'm not walking to school this way today. I'm going to go that way. Why? And your friend says, why? Because I'm me and I'm different, and if you can't take it, too bad. Boom. Now you don't have to just say, hey, I would like to try something new. Let's do something new. The worst they're going to say is no. It's like, you know what? I really need to go this way. Bye-bye. I'll meet up with you later or tomorrow. And same thing. We need that time alone to very much find out who we are. And that's very important because we have this Gemini, people person, Libra, people. So that Aries is really asking us, the Uranus and Aries is really asking us to be alone. And so as, we have that Neptune and Pisces is asking us to be alone, to search a little. And I'm not saying to be lonely, but to be alone and find out who you are, okay? It's very important, but to know, and very happily know, is that Jupiter is trining Chiron, okay, in water signs. So it says, be who you are. Bring out all that psychological junk and gunk from when you were younger and you were told it wasn't good and this and that. We have to be so careful and clear that space and go, well, why is it I'm not doing that? And clear it and clear it and clear it. We're like onions, remember? And clear it, get those energy clearings, get that, and just cry it out or punch it out, on a pillow, not a person. Okay. And just get it all out, because Jupiter in Cancer is saying we are not going to be victims. And that doesn't mean we go and fight someone else. We admit that anything that has hurt us, we allowed it to hurt us. No one has betrayed us. We have put too high expectations on someone. Okay, and we have to note that. All right? And we just have to say, okay. Now, if it was a contract, they broke their contract. That is a little bit different. But in this case, once we deal with all that junk and accept that people are people, They are here to learn lessons. They got karmic issues also. That is what planet Earth is about learning and developing and living in heaven simultaneously. Okay? For the kingdom of God is at hand, not later on. Hand is with us. It's attached to us. Okay? It is not later on. I saw this one billboard that said, oh, you will meet Jesus, you will meet God, when you die. I'm like, heck, I know them now. I know them now, and they're awesome. Okay, especially Jesus around the corner, great massage therapist guy there. So, just teasing there. Actually, I do know Jesus was a great massage therapist that I know. So, Jesus Martinez and Bellflower, give him a call. There you go. Anyway, so continuing. Um, you owe me, Jesus. Okay, so anyway, moving right along here. Remember that we have Eros that is conjunct also Pluto. So a lot of issues, and it's in Capricorn. So there's a lot of issues dealing with our sexuality, not sensuality, but our sexuality. What is it? Our needs. Okay, a lot of us are wanting for that orgasm, going, God, I need that orgasm, I need that orgasm, without really understanding what is that interchange of energy. How can you give energy without being depleted of your energy? That is a study and understanding. They used to have these things. Tantra, interchange of energy, is very important, where we exchange all these older, ways of thinking and ideas existed before, but it was harder to control the big mass. Yes, control. Okay, because people were encouraged to be individual and to be unique and to share. All right, and so the head people couldn't create slaves, remember? And so they need the slaves. Remember, every corporation, every big institute is a slave, is a volunteer slavery, because we are working, going, no, 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 I'm really working for this money. Well, I hope I get this and this and this and this. Do you get to choose your own hours? Do you get to choose exactly what you want to do? Do you get to choose? If you are not 100% choosing, you are slavery. Really. Okay, so remember that. And it's giving you, because Chiron's the wounded healer, is in Pisces, it's giving us that chance to heal. And then guess what? It is sextile, that Eros and a Pluto. So there's a time to really want to give and interchange that energy. But you know what? When we deny that exchange, okay, when we deny that Merkaba breathing of going higher and higher, higher, and connecting after we've grounded, and that happens sexually too. If we pay attention, we can, because it really creates such an, I was going to say, orgasmic situation. Well, it does, but such a higher level. Okay, because remember, there are different levels of orgasm. And if you're just concentrating on the quick release, that is more or less, why didn't you just go hit a punching bag or run some laps around the neighborhood, okay, as opposed to really, interchange, because you have to remember that the other person exists. And if the other person is not being fulfilled, but if you're not communicating about what your needs and wants and desires are, that's your fault too. You got to guide a person. If you don't want to, well, I don't know how, I wasn't taught how to, then speak up. Tuck, 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 tuck. You got lips, you got teeth, you got a tongue. Speak up. And I know men are thinking, yeah, and you can do something else with that too. Yeah. So, anyway, okay, speak up to express yourself of what you need. And if you don't know, go ahead and say, you know what? I don't know, but this is not exactly working for me. Can we try something else? Do you have any ideas? But don't be upset at the other person if it doesn't happen. Remember, you have an obligation of finding out about you, your wants, needs, and desires. Explore yourself. And that's very important, because you cannot expect someone to cook your favorite meal if you haven't explained it to them with the exact style and ingredients. So it's your own fault. And we need to keep that in mind. So anyway, with this wonderful Gemini going on, a new moon, okay, we have certain things to recap. We have Mercury retrograde. The storm is coming this next week. It goes retrograde on the 7th. Back up the computers. Remember all that. Fix your cars ahead of time. Wait for any new electronics, okay, and technology till beginning of July. And let me see. I feel like I'm forgetting something here. Um, Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's see here. Remember the chakras in this time? We're also talking about the throat chakra. Both, I know people say, well, isn't that the Taurus? Yes, but it's also the Gemini because of expression. We need to express ourselves. So a lot of people, you know, when their throat chakra is blocked, they're also having trouble breathing. They don't take in enough breath. They do not really fill in their abdomen, breathing in through their nose and then releasing, okay, through their mouth. Remember the Merkaba breathing, very important. Do that. You should do that at least 10 times an hour for deep cleanse breathing, okay? Another thing we need to remember during this time is really encouraging love of our siblings and being supportive. I know there's probably some of my siblings who are ready to throw me out a window or something like that, and but we need to really encourage and remember that we are all siblings. We are brothers and sisters within God, and that's something really important too. So I am very thankful for all of you guys for the donations you guys give me, for your support, your feedback, your comments. It is wonderful. I apologize if I don't get to you right away, but I do read it and I do think of you. And I do send everyone healing, loving light, okay, during this time. And know and know and know that you guys are all here in my heart because without you, there would be no me here. And give me a holler, give me a call, email me. Okay, follow me on Facebook if you want more information. Remember, I'm available for motivation speaker and teaching of conscious awareness with not just one-on-one, but I also do one-on-one, but for institutes. Yes, I know, you heard me say that. For groups at job sites, okay, and intimate relationship coaching. Remember, the intimate relationships not just between lovers, but also between parents and children, co-workers, boss and employee, employee and boss, okay, and other types of relationships, all right? So, with all that, thank you for watching. This is Sirena Nereida with Celestial Soul Wellness, and have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful full moon. I mean, new moon. There you go. Talk about the Gemini new moon, okay? Mwah. Josita.